Hello, this is Doug Jones. Do you know by watching this video, now listen to this, by watching this video and making this video part of your thought process, you can double and perhaps triple your income. And I'm going to prove it to you. So, because what I'm going to tell you is you have more ability right now than you think you have. And I'm going to prove that to you, and I'm going to give you an old example. This is something they did back in the 20s. Back in the 1920s, they actually had these little flea circuses. And I don't have a mason jar, but how do you train a flea? The way they would train fleas to do these jumps and to stay on the table is that they would put the fleas in mason jars. Now, I'm going to pretend this is the top of a mason jar. Well, what happened is the fleas, they put them in the mason jars, and they put the tin lid on top of the jar, and you'd hear this noise because the fleas are jumping and they're hitting their head on top of the mason jar. But what happened is this: fleas like to jump, but they don't like to hit their head. So eventually the fleas started jumping, and they would jump right to the top of where the mason jar was, but they would not hit their head. Then what the trainers would do, so to speak. Now, you know, maybe your ambition in life is to be a flea trainer, but what they would do is they would take off the lid to the mason jar, and the fleas would now jump, and they would just jump a certain height, and then the trainers would take the fleas out of the mason jars, and they would have fleas over here jumping this high and over here jumping this high, and they developed a thing called a flea circus. So my point is this: we have success levels, and you know, sometimes we think we're hitting our head and we only jump so high. We only achieve so much, and we can achieve more. And I want to tell you a study that a fellow did back at UCLA. Now, actually, I read about this in a book from Chester Karras called The Negotiating Game. And Chester told about a fascinating study having to do with a $10 bill. And here's what happened. They took students, and they wanted to know why students maybe were underachieving. And so these students are going to negotiate for $10. So, and the only thing at stake was $10. So you got to negotiate over here, you got to negotiate over here. When they just left things without any instructions, this side ended up with $5, and this side ended up with $5. Always. Because it doesn't make sense if you and I are negotiating and say, look, here's a $10 bill, we got to split it. How are we going to split it? You're going to say, well, okay, the only way I know is I get half, you get half. And that's what people do. Except what they did in this experiment, they did one thing. They told people on side A, they said, people on your side normally get $7.50. They told people on side B, look, people in your situation normally get $2.50. So the only thing that changed was the expectation level. These people expected to get $7.50. These people expected to get $2.50. And guess what happened? That's exactly what happened. The negotiators every time got $7.50 here and $2.50 here. But wait, there's more. You know that old TV thing? But wait, there's more. Here's what's interesting. The people who got $7.50 were satisfied. And the people who got $2.50 were satisfied because they went into this having an expectation level. They weren't expecting $5, they were expecting $7.50, they were expecting $2.50, and because of that, they were satisfied. Now, the point of telling you this is simply this: just by knowing that you can raise your aspiration level, by knowing that you have the ability to ask for more, by knowing that you can say, look, I can achieve more. Like the flea, I can take the lid off and I can jump as high as I want to jump. Just by knowing that, have I been settling? People ask the question, do dogs like bones? And some people say yes. No, the answer is no. Dogs don't like bones, they like meat. They settle for the bones. So my point is, don't settle for less. Just by listening to this video, just by paying attention to these thoughts right now that I'm telling you, without knowing any other sales technique, if you say to yourself, no, I can do better, I can do more, I can raise my aspiration level, and I will do that, you can double and perhaps triple your income. All I want to tell you is you got the ability. You got the ability, you got the smarts, you can do it, and go do it and have a great day.